Rick Barry was a better all-around player than Kobe Bryant was. He was a better. Rick Barry has the best free-throw shooting percentage in NBA history.
Or any style.
It doesn't matter.
No, I know. I love it.
It doesn't matter. He's Rick Barry's one of the best, one of the greatest small forward, power forwards in NBA history.
Don't forget, he went to the ABA, and he built that league a little bit. I mean, he could have had a great NBA career his whole career, but he chose to go to the ABA because his father-in-law actually was coaching one of the teams. And then, I mean, he's an NBA Hall of Famer. To compare him to Kobe is hard because they're two different players. Kobe's a lot more athletic.
Their numbers are identical. Their numbers are identical. Almost identical.
Rick Barry knew how to score. It was a different game. Back then, they shot the ball like 400 times a game because it was just up and down the court. When Kobe played, it was a little more focused, I guess, on defense and on, you had you're allowed to play zone. There are a lot of different things that had come by the time Kobe got there.
Right.
So I wouldn't say, that's a hard comparison to make. I think both of them are great. They both do different things. I wouldn't mind having either of them on my team. They're both definitely Hall of Famers. I love Kobe. I love Rick Barry. But Rick Barry was a winner. He hated to lose.
So was Kobe. Kobe was a winner too, but Kobe also played with Shaquille O'Neal. Rick Barry, when he came into the NBA, he was the guy. So,
and he won a title with the 1975 Warriors, which really didn't have much besides him. And they had they had Clifford Ray. They had a young guy who wound up winning a couple titles with the Lakers. And Magic Johnson, I forget his name. But they weren't that good that those Warrior teams that won in '75, they beat the Bullets, who were very good, and Elvin Hayes and guys like that. They wound up winning the title later in the '70s. They were an underdog, and Al Attles was the coach. He was one of the first black head coaches in the NBA. So he had to really work at what he did, Rick Barry, and he was a phenomenal foul shooter, absolutely phenomenal foul shooter, probably the best in the NBA.
He is the greatest. He's the greatest of all time, not even close. But that's not even an argument. There are other guys, what I'm saying, and I don't want to get into this too long, that I would take over Kobe Bryant. There are just so many great players that we have seen over the years that I honestly would take over Kobe Bryant because of the way he did it, the time that they did it, and the dominance. Even Charles Barkley, at the top of his game, Charles Barkley was as good as anybody. Good as anybody.
Absolutely. Barkley was great.
He was great. Look at his numbers. They're very considerable to Kobe Bryant's numbers. And Kobe, as good as he was in the playoffs, he's not an all-time great in the playoffs. He's not. Go look at his numbers. He's not even close to LeBron. LeBron averages 7 more points than Kobe does every single playoff game. 7 more points. That's a lot.
And then I think LeBron has really separated himself from everybody. I mean, even
not Michael Jordan.
Jordan. It's hard. You get into blasphemy whenever I would challenge Jordan because believe me, I know how great Jordan was. Jordan did things that still hurt me today, being a Knicks fan. But besides that, Jordan was just the greatness of Jordan. The fact that he hated to lose, the fact that he didn't really have. Scottie Pippen was a good player. He's definitely one of the I'd say top 100 in NBA history. I don't know about top 50, but it's not like he had a Kareem, Magic had a Kareem, Magic had Worthy. Jordan had to beat, Jordan really was responsible for so much of that success on that team. And he did so many legendary things. I mean, scoring all those points when he was sick that game and just rising to every level of competition that he had. He's beyond anything that I would ever think could be approached again. But I think when you look at LeBron, the fact that he's now been to the NBA Finals and won with 3 different teams, that's a real accomplishment.
No, it's a great accomplishment. Anybody that doesn't think that LeBron James hasn't made a great accomplishment, he has. But LeBron James, when you're trying to compare him to Michael Jordan, you'll never be able to compare him to Michael Jordan.
Jordan's he's just one of those guys.
A league of his own. In the league of his own.
It's hard to compare anybody to.
So, as you guys know, we call this segment, we do this every single Monday. We call this segment Mark It Up.
This is Mark It Up.
All right, Mark, are you ready?
Sure. Now, I mean, did you guys really watch the NBA Finals? I mean, has there been anything sports this year is, we talked about it all the time. It's just very, very weird. You had an NHL champion and an NBA champion, and they just kind of passed in the wind. And now you're going to have, the ALCS started, the NLCS is going to start tonight. It's just, sports has taken such a backseat with everything else that's going on. It's hard to really appreciate it for what it is. I mean, just a guy like LeBron getting the accomplishment that he did last year. LA was pretty, they didn't even make the playoffs, and they did get Anthony Davis, so you knew that they were going to be better. But everybody was touting the Clippers, and then they do what they always do, no matter what happened or what's going on in the world. They just can't seem to get past the second round, and then the Lakers go on and win the NBA title. But I think the Heat really surprised me. They weren't on my radar at all when the postseason began, and they really showed me something with their toughness and their ability to defend. And, Jimmy Butler really stepped up his game and stepped forward as one of the better players in the NBA now. I don't know if you could put it where you would put him, but he really stood out in the postseason.
Absolutely did. Absolutely did. I love what Jimmy Butler had to say after the game. He says that, listen, and we played our hearts out, and next year I think we'll be a better team. We're a young team. We're a growing team, and we're already winning now. So just imagine with a better team and some other players that we're going to add in the offseason where we could be next year. So he's right. I think they're one of the best teams. They're going to be one of the best teams going into the East next year. But now you're going to have to worry about the Nets. I mean, you have Kevin Durant coming back. Kyrie Irving's going to be 100%. They might add another superstar to that team. We don't know where the Greek Freak's going. Maybe he stays over there in Milwaukee. Maybe he goes to the West. Maybe he stays here in the East and it surprises the world and goes to the Knicks. Who knows?
The Knicks.
Did you say he was going to go to Miami?
Positive to the Knicks once in our life.
I don't know. Anything could happen. We don't know where the Greek Freak wants to go. It might happen. He might say, you know what, I want to go play for Tom Thibodeau. I don't know. Chris Paul goes here. He said he wants to play with Chris Paul. Maybe if the Knicks land Chris Paul, that could draw Giannis to go over there and play with Chris Paul. Who knows?
Maybe.
Anything's possible. And the Knicks still have a slew of first-round draft picks that they're going to have in the next 7 years. So the Knicks could be set in a very good spot. If they could draw one superstar, maybe they could draw the other. So anything's possible. And could you imagine Giannis and Chris Paul go to the Knicks? That makes the Knicks a championship competitive team right there in the Eastern Conference already. So anything's possible. I'm not saying that's going to happen. So all you fans out there saying that I think the Knicks are going to get Giannis, I didn't say they're going to get Giannis.
Say it. No, you didn't.
I'm saying that anything could happen. You just don't know what could happen. That's all I'm saying. So, that's it.
Now, how do you feel about the Yankees losing to the Rays?
I was very upset, and I will say this, and I'm not. I've said this. I said this on the Weekend Crunch on Saturday with Eric and Speedy. I am upset with the Yankees because it was a short season. It was 60 games. The Yankees could never stay healthy all season long, even in 60 games. They could never stay healthy in 162 games. How could they stay healthy in a 60-game season? They go into playoffs. They're smashing the ball against Cleveland. They smashed the ball against Tampa in the first 2 or 3 games, and they couldn't hit a lick in the final game. It doesn't make any sense. This shows you it's not coaching. It's not managing. It has nothing to do with it. And these players are prima donnas. You have Aaron Judge, who couldn't hit a lick against the Tampa Bay Rays. The only person that really hit in that series is Gleyber Torres and Giancarlo Stanton. That's it. Everybody else couldn't hit a lick. And Aaron Hicks needs to go. Gardner needs to retire. I mean, this team something needs to be done with, and the pitching staff. You cannot, Garrett Cole pitched his heart out in game number 5. His heart out. And then the bullpen completely plummethed. Chapman is done. They need to move on from Chapman. They need to find another closer, maybe Hader or somebody like that. They need to do something. It's not Chapman. This bullpen is it's terrible. This is the worst bullpen with the New York Yankees in 20 years, and I knew the Yankees weren't going to win a World Series, even if they got out of this series.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed in them, too. I would challenge most baseball fans to name like 6 or 7 guys on the Rays. They probably couldn't do it. I never thought the Yankees would lose to them in a series. Things happen during the regular season. This is a weird regular season. So many different things happen anyway. So, whoever won a division didn't matter because they all had to do the same thing in the first round anyway. So there was really no advantage to winning the division. You each had to win a best-of-3 series, and there was no home field advantage because there was no fans, so it didn't matter. But I thought that they were the best team in the AL. They should have won the American League, and they should be playing the Dodgers, or if the Braves can beat the Dodgers, which it's going to be a good series, being the way Atlanta's pitched so far. But again, 60 games for baseball. I mean, I was talking about this with Snowman the other day. You have teams like the 2002 Angels and 2003 Marlins. They weren't even in near 500 after 60 games. They wound up winning the World Series, both those teams. So through 60 games, not much really can happen to determine a true champion. That's why this year really doesn't even the team that's going to win the World Series, it really isn't much when you're looking at real champions that have played 162 games during the postseason and got on to win the World Series.
Aaron Boone is on the hot seat. I can tell you that right now.
No, he shouldn't be.
He's going to be on the hot seat. If the Yankees do not win a championship next year, he will be gone. I guarantee it. He will be gone. This is a team, two seasons with 100 or more wins. Mm-hmm. You go all the way to a spot where everybody expected you to be a championship competitive team, even with a short season. Everybody picked you. Everybody, even Eric Coleman, who knows nothing about baseball, picks you.
The official jinx.
And you lose. So I don't know.
The other problem that you have to look at, Mark, too, is I said this on the Weekend Crunch, is the identity of the Yankees. They can't keep trying to just swing for the home runs all the time, and they strike out too much in the playoffs, which doesn't win in the playoffs. Analytics are great, and they definitely have helped player development. They've helped baseball strategy, I think, but you still need some level of contact hitting, and you saw it with LeMahieu. You've seen that with LeMahieu. He
was good too. I didn't give him credit either.
Yes, and
DJ LeMahieu had a good series too.
Batting title this year, an MVP candidate for sure.
He's going to get a lot of money.
Yeah, you need more players like that though, and the player. It's not like they can't do it. It's not like they're incapable players. It's not like they have a bunch of Ryan Howards on the team. They have guys that are definitely capable of doing it, but just doesn't seem like their approach has been that way in the playoffs. And I think they struck out at one point. I want to say Game 4 against the Rays or Game 5.
Oh my God!
I think they struck out like 16 times.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember too.
How do the Rays find this guy Glasso? They find all these guys, man. They trade away people. Superstar pitchers. They're no longer superstar pitchers. They bring in this kid. He comes out of nowhere, and he's one of the best pitchers in the American League. It doesn't make any sense.
Especially since how long Archer was on the trade clock.
The Yankees haven't won since 2009, so it's not like they had championship after championship after championship. I mean, the coach came in, and he hit one of the biggest postseason home runs ever. So Yankee fans love him already. Okay, so Boone is a guy that really has done well, I think. I mean, he's
done great. But you got to win.
But he's brought them, to the playoffs, and they've got to the championship series before. I didn't think they were better than the Astros last year. This was the only year I thought they really should have won. But again, it's just so many unknowns with the 60 games. There's just so many things that could have gone wrong. And they didn't win. So
Tanaka is terrible, too. Absolutely horrendous. Absolutely. He needs to be gone. They cannot bring Tanaka back. They cannot. I don't care if he takes less money. You'll bring him back for less money as a fourth or fifth starter. I'm not bringing Tanaka more than a fourth or fifth starter. He was horrendous.
They still got talent everywhere. They still got a load full of guys in a minor league system.
Yes.
They're going to be good for a long time.
Yes.
And, I mean, it's not easy to win a World Series every year. I mean, look at the Oakland A's, okay? They've been consistently good for the last 20 years, and they haven't even gotten to the World Series. So the Yankees have really, when you talk about what they've done since the wild card era, the Yankees have been, no doubt, the best team in baseball.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
They've won the most championships, and they've made the playoffs. I think they only haven't made the playoffs like 3 or 4 years in that span. So they've done really exceedingly well. You can't win every year. There are going to be teams that are going to be things that go against you, but I don't think if Boone gets fired, that would be a tragedy. Just a tragedy.
If they don't win a championship next year, he'll be fired. I guarantee it.
Well, maybe next year, but to fire him.
No, not this year.
No,
next
not this year. It's tough to fire anyone on this kind of season.
Next year.